We done.
What do you think of eminent domain?
Well, I think eminent domain is wonderful if you're building a highway and you need to build, as an example, a highway and you're going to be blocked by a holdout, or in some cases it's a holdout. Just so you understand, nobody knows this better than I do because I built a lot of buildings in Manhattan, and you'll have 12 sites and you'll get 11 and you'll have the one holdout and you end up building around them and everything else. Okay, so I know it better than anybody. I think eminent domain for massive projects, for instance, you're going to create thousands of jobs and you have somebody that's in the way and you pay that person far more. Don't forget, eminent domain, they get a lot of money. And you need a house in a certain location because you're going to build this massive development that's going to employ thousands of people, or you're going to build a factory that without this little house, you can't build the factory. I think eminent domain is fine. Now, the Club for Growth doesn't like it because of me. They came to my office right upstairs. They said, would you give us $1 million? They put it in writing.
But back to the issue. You said in 2005, you said you agree with the Kelo case in the U.S. Supreme Court 100%. And that basically upholds eminent domain.
If eminent domain, number one, a person has a house and they end up getting much more than the house is ever worth. You know, eminent domain is not like they take yours. You know, these people, because they're not very smart people, the Club for Growth people, and actually, I don't want to use the word extortion, but pretty close. They came up, they wanted $1 million, they would have been one.
Well, other candidates are now using and talking about the issue.
Think about it. They come up, they ask me for $1 million. I say, $1 million for what? I never even heard of the Club for Growth until 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you want $1 million?
Club for Growth aside.
No,
let's talk about the demand.
Yeah, but this is one of the points I make. They ask for $1 million, I say no, then they come out against me, they take some ads. Okay, big deal, didn't have any impact at all. But eminent domain was one of their issues. So, if you have a road or a highway,
I get that.
You got to do it. If you have a factory where you have thousands of jobs and you need eminent domain, it's called economic development.
Bernie Sanders, when the decision came out, he said, he spoke out against Kelo case. He said the result of this decision will be that working families and poor people will see their property turned over to corporate interests and wealthy developers.
It's not right. It's not right. Look, they get the way they talk. People would say, "Oh, it's turned over." It's turned over for 4, 5, 6, 10 times sometimes what it's worth. People pay them a fortune, but sometimes you have people that want to hold out just for the. Most of the time, I will say, I've done a lot of out parcels. I call them out parcels.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they just want money. Okay, it's very rarely that they say, "I love my house. I love my house. It's the greatest thing that ever." Because these people can go buy a house now that's 5 times bigger in a better location. So eminent domain, when it comes to jobs, roads, the public good, I think it's a wonderful thing. I'll be honest with you. And remember, you're not taking property. You know, the way you asked the question, the way other people, you're paying a fortune for that property. Those people can move 2 blocks away into a much nicer house.
I know, but if they don't want to sell.
Well, look, I mean, I feel.
But we can move on. I know what you mean.
I agree. I think it's a great subject. It's a very interesting subject. I fully understand the conservative approach, but I don't think it was explained to most conservatives.